Yeah. Hey, everybody, and welcome again to Polka DeFiance 2023, right? Thanks for the introduction. Björn Wagner is my name, and I'm very grateful to welcome you here all today to explore the world of DeFi on Polkadot. So from looking at the agenda and talking to some folks, I believe there's a bunch of goodness packed into today's agenda. I believe you will hear from some of the most innovative teams in the blockchain space, tackling some of the most meaningful challenges in DeFi. Right, to name a few, like Manta, bringing cutting-edge zero-knowledge privacy solutions. We have Mangata with a game-changing MEV protection scheme. We'll hear from Oak Network, right? Oak Network is bringing cross-chain automation to make DeFi on Polkadot more user-friendly than ever. And I would honestly go as far to say that the teams here today aren't just building up the Polkadot DeFi ecosystem to rival that of Ethereum. They're really taking it to the next level. And as I track what's happening in the ecosystem and speak to folks, what makes me particularly happy to say is that all of this innovation is taking place in an environment where these teams that are innovating, and we as the Polkadot ecosystem as a whole, are really staying true to our North Star of building a truly unstoppable platform. Now, and particularly if you look at that in comparison, right, to other players in our space, right? While other ecosystems are sacrificing decentralization for scalability, transaction speed, or user experience, or simply playing lip service to decentralization, I truly get the feeling that Polkadot is putting the decentralized back into DeFi. And ultimately, decentralization is a means to an end, right? But it is one of these key ingredients for building a network that will remain relevant for decades to come, and not just be a fad for a year or two. Now, and I think as many of you would agree, right? If a service can be shut down by a small collection of powerful actors, if there is a central point of failure, or if you have to trust someone to protect your funds, right? It's not truly DeFi, and it certainly isn't the real Web3. Now, to emphasize that again, if you looked at 2022 alone, I believe nearly $2.5 billion was lost due to hacks of centralized bridges in other ecosystems. And this is one of the reasons, and what makes me happy is to see that the Polkadot ecosystem is prioritizing robust, decentralized, and trustless bridges. And these sort of things take time to do it right, but I strongly believe it's crucial that we do. Now, Polkadot's governance and treasury model is another great example in that direction, right? Without the automatic enactment of decisions that are made by the community voting on chain, something that Polkadot has led the way on for a couple of years now, other so-called DAOs are decentralized in name only. We had a great example of that with one of the major layer 2 roll-ups, token distributions earlier this year. And as we are on the topic of on-chain governance, right? OpenGov, which is Polkadot's next generation governance system, or maybe so, is currently up for a vote on the Polkadot governance system. So please be sure to make your voice heard, right? What your opinion is, and be part of Polkadot history by participating in the decision. Now, overall, I think we really can take pride in the fact that the Polkadot ecosystem, the community, is leading the space forward on this. What's happening here is what I see as, an anti-FTX. It's somewhat a major step toward the Web3 future that we've been talking about since, one of the Polkadot founders, Gavin Wood, first coined the term of Web3 back in 2014. And because of this continued commitment, I believe that Polkadot's DeFi ecosystem is not only here to stay, but will be a major force in the coming years for the entire space. Now, there's another area I would like to talk about, right? And that's kind of like the the sense of collaboration that I feel in the Polkadot ecosystem, right? And I think some of these talks today will get you a sense why there are many people out there that are calling Polkadot one of, if not the most collaborative ecosystem in Web3. So all across our community, teams are building off each other's tech to bring you innovative products and services, including establishing cross-chain DeFi use cases. Now, just among the teams we have here today, there are a ton of cross-chain collaborations taking place. To name a couple of them, right? I believe, what comes to my mind is, thanks to Interlay's IBTC deployment, right? Which is likely today's most robust Bitcoin bridge out there. BTC can now be used across the entire Polkadot ecosystem, from Equilibrium to Hydra DX to Moonbeam and Bifrost, to smart contract systems such as StellarSwap and Moonbeam, StellarSwap and BeanSwap. Yeah. Another thing that comes to mind is the recent Equilibrium integration that is bringing multi-chain assets to Moonbeam, supporting bridge liquidity from outside the Polkadot ecosystem via Moonbeam. You have Mangata and Oak Network working on interesting new auto-compounding features and more. And I think this may perhaps be the first time you have remote execution of a DeFi operation across different blockchains. Now, gaming chain Ayuna is partnering with Equilibrium to use EQD for in-game transactions. You have LittenTree is partnering with Fala on private and trustless Web3 identity. You have InvArch and Fala, I think those two are partnering to bring support for Web2 accounts to the Saturn multi-chain multisig. And last but not least, Moonbeam is adding a privacy layer to their smart contracts in collaboration with the privacy chain project Manta. And I think this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There will surely be a lot of stuff that I haven't mentioned here, and without doubt, much more to come. But altogether, because of Polkadot's secure cross-chain interoperability, right, you are able to compose useful systems by utilizing features exposed by different chains. Here again, I think it's worth mentioning that the next major upgrade to that said interoperability standard, right, that new upgrade is coined XCM version 3, is also currently up for a vote. So again, be sure to take part in making history and getting that deployed. Now, as more and more teams innovate powerful tech that others can use, the ecosystem gets stronger and stronger. It's altogether a virtuous cycle where the success of one project contributes to the success of others and to the entire ecosystem at the end of the day. And this positive feedback loop of innovation is what I believe to be a key ingredient in making us as a collective succeed in our mission. Now, let's maybe take a couple of minutes to just briefly talk about some of the upcoming upgrades to Polkadot, right? So we've got, there's loads of stuff worth mentioning. I just shoot out a couple of things that I think come to my mind first. Asynchronous backing, right, is an upcoming upgrade to Polkadot Core that will bring lower latency, faster finality, and enable high throughput application. What does that mean? This means DeFi and Polkadot will be able to scale to whatever it needs, likely. With asynchronous backing, I think Polkadot and its parachains together should be capable of, even relatively soon, somewhat capable of processing upwards of 1 million transactions per second, again, without sacrificing security, robustness, or unstoppability. Another interesting thing about asynchronous backing is that it paves the way for us to create parachains that essentially run at a much faster tick rate than the current 6-second block time, right? This may be super attractive for some DeFi primitives. Another bit in the works is a bridge hub parachain, the system parachain that will house a lot of bridges, which will give Polkadot and parachains and apps instant access to secure and trustless bridging infrastructure right off the box. right up to now, and that's the case for any other standalone chain out there, be it a Cosmos chain or Parachain in the past, those chains have had to organize their own bridge integrations by themselves. Now, soon, every parachain will benefit from this bridging infrastructure provided by Polkadot as a public good, giving, again, instant access to trustless interoperability with chains external to Polkadot. Likewise, service providers like centralized exchanges, custodians, and on and off ramps previously had to integrate each parachain in the network one by one in order to service those parachains' native tokens, slowing down that process and increasing high cost, right? With a new update that's meant to come to the Asset Hub, which is a system parachain that is so far known mostly as Statement, these service providers will be able to support many tokens across Polkadot with a single integration or deployment, so to say. I think the last thing I want to mention here is on-demand parachains, right? Also called parathreads. We've talked about it a lot in the past. I still think it's crucially important. This tech will make it significantly easier for teams to join the Polkadot ecosystem. Teams will be able to skip the auction process and instantly connect to Polkadot and utilize the block space that Polkadot provides on a pay-as-you-go basis, right? So we make it much easier for teams to bring their groundbreaking tech to Polkadot, since they won't need to conduct a crowd load or raise a large amount of DOT. No, they can just go pay for the block stake that's actually needed when it's needed. Another thing worth mentioning is soon we should have native USDC on Polkadot, bringing a much needed service to the community and eliminating the need for wrapped versions of that asset. The Water parachain also recently announced that a regulated stablecoin, TrueUSD, is launching on their platform on the Water parachain. So the community, Polkadot community, should have access to 2 new native stablecoins quite soon. On top of that, just today, Binance announced a Polkadot integration that will allow their users to withdraw and deposit USDT natively onto and from Polkadot. Why is that important? The lack of liquidity has been quite some headwind our DeFi ecosystem has been facing. And the integration of the most major exchange out there for withdrawal of USDT straight onto the Asset Hub is quite important in that realm. So altogether, I think there are many exciting things that are happening in the Polkadot ecosystem today. And some of you may have seen some of the other recent news around Polkadot, such as that Uniswap is launching on Polkadot, on Moonbeam, right? And thereby on Polkadot, which I believe to be another significant boost for DeFi on Polkadot. Altogether, looking forward, the future of DeFi on Polkadot is looking pretty incredible to me. Now, before I hand off to the next speaker, I want to just give you a shout out about 2 things. One, I want to invite all of you warm-heartedly to Polkadot Decoded, which is, as you all know, the biggest Polkadot event of the year. It's happening on June 28th and 29th in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I would, and certainly we, would love to see you all there. You can register on Polkadot.network. And while you're at it, right, for all of you that are just exploring the Polkadot ecosystem, the Polkadot technology stack, right, on Polkadot.network, you will find loads of interesting and useful resources to see how to get started. Maybe it might be a Web3 Foundation grant or funding from Polkadot's decentralized on-chain treasury to get started. Now, with all that, right, I want to thank you all so much for being here, and a big thank you to the Equilibrium team for organizing this event. Altogether, thanks and enjoy the rest of this today's event. Thank you.